Alright guys, now in front of me I have all the tools needed to build a simple coil and an RDA. So there are tons of different ways that you can build, and for the purposes of this video I'm going to show you what I like to do for my very simple everyday build. There are tons of different tools, and when it comes down to it, it's usually best to go with what you find the easiest. But essentially, there are different ways to make your coil building experience easier. A series of screwdrivers. Now these three are Phillips head screwdrivers of varying size, and I find that they work very well for the purposes of my builds. Many people like to use a set of screwdrivers from 1/16 to 9/64 and then 1/32 to 9/64. All different screwdrivers serve different purposes in the way of building, but for our purposes today, these three Phillips screwdrivers will work just fine. Now, another thing that you might need is a pair of pliers. Needle nose would be best. These here I find are very useful because they have that bend in them. A pair of snips to cut your Kanthal wire. Also, some sort of scissor. These tiny scissors work great, I find, in snipping the cotton. Now, another tool that is very useful is a pair of tweezers. These tweezers are ceramic tipped tweezers, and they're actually very useful. Now, you'll see later on, but these ceramic tweezers can be used while heating the coil, which full metal tweezers cannot, because it will short your coil out. An ohm reader is another good thing to have. Now this will test the resistance of your coil, as well as serve as a good base for building on your RDA. Now a few other things that you'll need are a device, and for the purposes of this video I will be using the Gnarly 150. It is a 150 watt regulated box mod. I find that it works great. I love it. If anyone out there is contemplating different box mods to buy, I would certainly suggest that one. The atomizer we will be using today is the Infinite V3. This is one of my favorite all-around atomizers. The deck is great, the airflow is great, and it's actually just a very easy RDA to build on. So today we will be working with 23 gauge Kanthal wire. Now Kanthal comes in all different gauges, but essentially the thicker gauge wire, the lower resistance that your coil will be. And the thinner gauged wire, the higher your resistance will be. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off around 6 to 8 inches of this 23 gauge Kanthal, set it right here, and we will cut off another 6 to 8 inches of this Kanthal wire. So we've got two sections of 8-inch Kanthal pieces to build our dual coil Kanthal build. So now that we've got two pieces of Kanthal, the next step is to go ahead and form the coil itself. This is where there are many different methods on how to build a perfect coil. Now we're not looking for perfection in this stage quite yet, but there are some techniques that will help to determine whether or not your coil will perform the way you'd like it to. So right now we're going to go ahead and use this Phillips screwdriver, and we're going to take our Kanthal and we're going to start coiling. Now what I like to do is sandwich the Kanthal between your thumb and the screwdriver itself, like so, and then I like to go ahead and just take it down and over and down and over, down and over. So that's 3 wraps, 4 wraps, 5 wraps, 6 wraps. Now the pieces of wire that hang off, these two guys right here, are called leads. And these leads will be what you use to connect your coil to your atomizer. They need to be facing the same direction, but one on top and one on bottom. So right here we have a nice coil, 6 wrap, 23 gauge Kanthal, and we're going to go ahead and set that off to the side for now. It looks pretty good, but it's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be. At this point, all we're looking for is the general outline. Now we're going to repeat the same process with our other piece of Kanthal. You can adjust the Kanthal the way you'd like to make your coil a little bit prettier as it comes off the screwdriver. But like I said, again, it's not necessary for you to make it perfect at this point. Right now is where I like to go ahead and screw my atomizer onto the ohm reader. This ohm reader actually doesn't work great, so I'm going to go ahead and use it just simply as a building platform for my coil. So you see that the Infinite V3 RDA has a 3-post design, and essentially what we want to do here is we want to insert our coils into the deck, and from there we will make the necessary adjustments to tightness and positioning that we will need in order to position our coil and get it ready for vaping. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our first coil, we're going to leave it on the screwdriver, and we're going to take the leads and put them into the positive post and the negative post of our RDA. Once we've got the leads successfully through the post, we're going to play around with it a little bit. Now, adjustment can all be made throughout the process. It's not necessary that it's absolutely perfect right now, but essentially what we want is we want to center the coil as much as we can across the base of the deck. Now, it's important to get it kind of close up. You want it to be close to the posts, but not touching. So right here, we've got it pretty well close to the deck, but not touching. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and screw in with a separate screwdriver one of our leads. Now, we don't want to tighten it so tight that it cuts off the leads. That would be a bad thing, but we do want it to be snug. So essentially, at this point, we can go ahead and push over just a little bit so that we get our coil into the position that we like. And we'll go ahead and just lightly screw down the other post. Now, if I undo this here, we look and see that our coil doesn't look perfect. It's not in the perfect position, and we've actually got some spaces here that cause it to look a little bit ugly. But that's no worry, we'll continue to adjust it as we go along. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to attach our other coil, and we're going to push these leads up. Now, because we're doing a dual coil build on a 3-post RDA, we will need to share this middle post here between both of our coils. So what we're going to do is we're going to just very lightly unscrew the center post here, and we're going to attach the coil to our deck the same way we did previous, but this time the center post is going to be the key. We're going to run these leads through the other side of our RDA. Now, it's important at this point to maintain as much accuracy as we can, but not sweat too much, because we are able to continue to play with both of our coils along in this process. Now, one thing that is important, however, is to make sure that our leads on our opposite coils do not overlap each other in this center post. Overlapping can cause a short. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to tighten down our outside lead of our second coil. Not too tight again, but just tight enough to keep it in place. And then what we're going to do is we're going to tighten down that middle post again. Now this time it's got both of our coils within it, and hopefully this will allow for us to position both of our coils in such a way that we like and looks pretty. So there we go. We've got our 2 coils successfully positioned into our RDA. And what we're going to do now is go ahead and clip the leads. Now this is where your clippers come in handy, and what you're going to do is you're going to take each lead and you're going to take the flat side of the clippers and go ahead and just clip them right as they come out of the posts. So there's one, there's another. Now for these middle ones, it's a little bit difficult because it's hard to get in there with the clippers, but it's also important that we don't mess up our coils. So a good way to do this is to go ahead and just wiggle your leads. There we go. And same with the other side. Continue to wiggle. And there we go. It came right off. So now all of our leads are properly clipped, and we see that our coils are still just a little bit, well, they're a little bit haggard looking. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to take it off of the ohm reader. What we're going to do is we're actually going to place it on our Sigelli 150, and we will read the resistance. What we like to do from here is both test the resistance and fire our coils so that we can see how they perform, as well as adjust them into the position and tightness that we would like. We're going to go ahead and lower our wattage. So what we're going to do is we're going to let's go ahead and first fire it and see what resistance it comes out as. Now right here it says 0.1 ohm build. Now these will change and fluctuate while we fire them, but essentially what we want to do is we want to get them a little bit hot. Now when you first see them, they're going to get hot in an odd way. There's going to be hot spots. It's not going to look great, but the point of firing them now is to go ahead and adjust them with these ceramic tweezers. Now, like I said before, the benefit to ceramic tweezers is that we can go ahead and adjust these coils while we're firing them, and we will not get shorts as we would with metal tweezers. Now what we're looking for is consistent heating from the inside out of our coils. Now they're looking pretty good, but what we're going to do is continue to play around with them a little bit. Now after moving it around quite a bit, what we see is that our resistance has jumped to 0.2. Some people would say that wicking is one of the most important parts to building coils. Cotton Bacon by Wick and Vape is a sandwiched organic cotton that looks kind of like this. Now it's sandwiched between itself, and it's in this nice fluffy stack. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the cotton and we're going to kind of eyeball what we think our coils will use. What I like to do is I like to trim the cotton at a little bit of an angle, like you're cutting flowers, so that it comes to a little bit of a point. And then from there, I like to go ahead and twist the cotton at the end. Now at this point, it's important to go ahead and lock your device if that's something that your device has the ability to do, because it's very important not to accidentally fire this button here while you are wicking. Now you could burn yourself, you could burn the cotton. It's just an all-around bad experience, trust me. But at this point, what you're going to do is you're going to shove your cotton through your coil and just go ahead and pull it. It shouldn't be too tight, it shouldn't be too loose. We're going to go ahead and just snip that off right there, get that out of here, and snip this off right here and get that out of there. Position it so that it's central, and move on to the next one. When you're finished wicking, your coils should look something like this. And now we're going to go ahead and push our wicking material down into the well of our RDA. Just go ahead and push it down along the sides. Now from here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and saturate our coils. This is the fun part in my opinion, because we can go ahead and make it do some fireworks. At this point, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and throw our top cap on, go back to our regular view, and vape on her. Alright guys, so we did it. I think it went really well. I like the performance. Let's go ahead and show you how she vapes. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'd like to invite you to check out our channel at Dang That's Gnarly, and I'll see you next time.